author-illustrator Andrea Beck here. Yep, with my friends Elliot and Pierre, and we're here for story time with Andrea, and we have picked a really good story today, haven't we? Haven't we, Elliot? What story did we pick? Elliot's Noisy Night. What's he holding there? Is a flashlight. Where is Elliot? He's in bed. What's he wearing? Jammies. Is he looking happy? Doesn't look too happy, does he? What's going on in that picture? We don't know anything about the story yet, but we do know some things, and that's because the illustrator told us some things in the picture. So that's what illustrators do. They tell a story with pictures, and writers tell the story with words. So we're going to read Elliot's Noisy Night today, but first, Elliot wants to come up and say hi. Hi, everybody. Can you see some of your friends out there, Elliot? You can. That's great. Can you see some new friends out there? Yeah, even better. Always room for new friends. Right, Elliot? And Pierre, who do you see out there? Oh, I wonder who Pierre sees. I know he's sniffing. Look at that nose go. What do you sniff out there today? Is that a chocolate cake? A chocolate cake? Or a barbecue? Bacon and eggs? Lasagna? All of Pierre's favorite things. Don't tell me you're sniffing a garbage can. No, we're not going to sniff garbage cans today. That's only in your story, okay? Okay, you agree? Right, all right. Are we ready for our story? Snuggle up, boys and girls. Get comfy, get your stuffy, get your blankie, get your own books, sit on your bed, on the couch, snuggle into your brother or sister, or your mom or your dad, and let's have story time. Here we go. Elliot's Noisy Night, written and illustrated by Andrea Beck. Elliot Moose was worried. Last night he'd heard noises in bed, and though he'd managed not to think about them much all day, now that it was dark, he couldn't think of anything else. As he hurried to the kitchen for a bedtime snack, Elliot imagined scary things. Did anyone hear noises last night? Elliot asked his friends. Noises? Replied Socks. Yes, bumping and whooshing, said Elliot. It sounded like something was in the house. I hid under my covers all night. Bumping, said Paisley. Whooshing, whimpered Puff. Everyone moved closer together. But when Amy arrived with cookies, still warm from the oven, Elliot's friends became quite brave. It must have been a dream, said Socks. Or your imagination, said Amy. I think it was an Elliot-eating monster, hooted Angel, and everyone laughed, even Elliot. You think there's such a thing as an Elliot-eating monster? Yeah. Elliot's friends chattered on, but he kept thinking about the noises. What if there was something in the house? The closer it got to bedtime, the more frightened he became. He wanted to tell Socks or Paisley, but what if everyone laughed again? Elliot decided to go see Beaverton instead. Elliot was almost at Beaverton's cupboard when he heard a noise. Whir, whir, whump. He burst through Beaverton's door and slammed it shut behind him. There's something out there, he cried. Listen. But as they put their ears to the door, Elliot noticed that Beaverton didn't seem worried. After listening very carefully, Elliot grinned. It's the fridge, he exclaimed. Beaverton grinned too. I knew you'd figure it out, he said. As Beaverton walked Elliot to bed, they talked about the other noises Elliot had heard. No wonder you've got the willies, said Beaverton. Don't worry, Elliot. House noises sound louder at night. The furnace whooshes, the floors creak, the shutters bang in the wind. Lionel and I are so used to it, we never wake up anymore. Elliot felt better, but he brought Beaverton's flashlight to bed just in case. I think Beaverton's a really good friend. Later, Elliot awoke with a start. Whir, whir, whump, came a noise. He shivered. Then he remembered the fridge. Whoosh! He quivered. Then he remembered the furnace. Bump, bump, bang! Elliot closed his eyes and smiled. He wasn't going to be frightened by a silly loose shutter. But then Elliot heard something else. What did he hear? Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Elliot's tummy jumped. Beaverton hadn't explained shuffling sounds. What could they be? Suddenly a ghostly figure appeared in his doorway and Elliot's fur stood right up on end. "Are you awake?" came a wavering voice. Elliot shrank deep beneath his covers. Look how low he is in his covers. But as the figure came closer, Elliot noticed pajamas and a pink blanket. It was Socks. Her slippers were making that shuffling sound. "I heard bumping," whispered Socks. "Don't worry," said Elliot bravely. "It's just the wind blowing the shutters." Socks wanted to sleep over, just in case, so they snuggled down together in Elliot's cozy bed. A moment later, the friends heard a loud thump. It wasn't the fridge or the furnace, and it didn't sound like the shutters either. Elliot and Socks grabbed each other's paws. Thump, thump. They dove under the covers. Thump, thump. What is it? Suddenly the covers were snatched away. "Something's following us," cried Amy and Paisley, and they jumped into Elliot's bed. Thump, thump came the noise again. "Something's coming," cried Snowy and Puff, and they jumped into Elliot's bed too. Thumpity thump thump Angel came barreling out of the darkness. "I hear noises," she shrieked, and she leapt into Elliot's bed. All of a sudden, the thumping stopped. The friends listened, wide-eyed. After a minute, Amy sighed. "We made those thumping noises," she cried. Everyone groaned. Then they giggled. Then they settled down for the night. One by one, the friends fell asleep, except for Elliot, who felt rather crowded. So only Elliot heard the scariest sound of all. Swish, swish. He froze. What could it be? Lionel? Beaverton? No, they never woke up at night, and all of Elliot's other friends were in his bed. Swish, swish. Maybe there was an Elliot-eating monster after all. Is there such a thing? No, there's no such thing as an Elliot-eating monster. The sound came closer and closer. Elliot's tummy scrunched into a knot. What should he do? He fumbled for Beaverton's flashlight. Slowly, carefully, he brought it up from under the covers. Then, trembling from head to toe, Elliot waited. When the swishing came right to his door, he took a deep breath and turned on the flashlight. Click! Oh, who is it? Who is it? "Oh!" gasped Beaverton. "Beaverton!" whispered Elliot. "This noisy night even woke me up," said Beaverton. "I thought I should check on you." Then he noticed the others. "A sleepover! Oh, boy!" Beaverton hurried off to get his blanket and pillow, his tail swishing behind him. Then he snuggled down too. It was the biggest sleepover ever. Elliot smiled. Then he turned off the flashlight. Click! And at last he fell asleep, safe and warm in his noisy old house. It's kind of like our noisy old house. So glad you joined us for story time today. Going to come back and see us sometime? We would love it because we love stories and we love kids and we love company. So bye-bye, boys and girls. Bye-bye.